Hi, my name is Shannon Costello and I'm a registered dietitian with Corporate Fitness Works. Today we are in my home kitchen and we're going to put together a Warming Nourish Bowl. This recipe is a really good base for learning how to make any meal bowl fit into your nutritional needs and preferences and cater to the current season. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you're familiar with the concept of using meal components, and that's what we'll be using to build this bowl today. The meal component method is a really simple and efficient way to build a meal without having to follow a specific recipe per se, and it allows you to be creative, add variety, and cater to your personal preferences. The meal components include a lean protein, a complex carbohydrate, non-starchy vegetables, a healthy fat, and any flavor component of your choice. This particular bowl is for the winter season, so I'll be using seasonal produce and keeping these foods cooked so they're warm and soothing. And this method makes it really easy to batch cook multiple bowls all at once, making it good for work lunches and busy night dinners for the week ahead. Now the quantities of each food is dependent on your needs, so simply take one portion of each meal component and multiply it by how many bowls you're making for the total quantity. So for example, if you normally eat 3 ounces of chicken or use half a cup serving of chickpeas for your lean protein component, you'll want to make 4 bowls, and that's about 12 ounces of chicken and so forth with the chickpeas. So as an example, here are the meal components that I've picked. My lean protein is roasted chickpeas. I'm already seasoning this with some curry powder and some avocado oil, and I'll roast these in my cast iron skillet to bring out the flavor. Other protein options are baked or grilled chicken, salmon, sliced turkey, or cubed tofu, other beans of course too. So just go ahead and cook your choice of protein using your preferred method. And then try to cook with low fat methods like baking, roasting, grilling, or poaching. My complex carbohydrates are going to be brown rice and some sweet potatoes. Brown rice or even quinoa work really well as a base to bowls, and you can cook them in either water or some low sodium broth for more flavor. I also like to do butternut squash in the winter instead of sweet potato, as they're both a starchy vegetable but have a slightly different nutrient profile. Now my non-starchy vegetables, the possibilities here are endless. So I've chosen some kale and mixed collard greens here. We've got some Brussels sprouts that I've already quartered. You can also purchase them pre-quartered. And some roughly chopped red onion. I love the antioxidants in red onion. So I'm going to saute the greens with some lemon juice and a pinch of salt. You can also use apple cider vinegar instead of lemon juice. And this will just help decrease the bitterness in these greens and make them easier to digest. Now the Brussels sprouts and the onions I'll roast with the sweet potatoes. But the options of non-starchy veggies is endless. Zucchini, broccoli, cauliflower, tomatoes, eggplant, you name it. Mix and match and try to change it up each week so you're adding more variety to your diet. Now my healthy fat is going to be a really simple hummus dressing. Hummus is also a protein, but it traditionally uses an olive oil or canola oil to make it nice and creamy. So we'll turn it into a smoother dressing to drizzle on top of our final bowl. You can also add diced avocado, slivered almonds, sunflower seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds, a fermented cheese as a garnish. Now we'll be also using some olive oil and avocado oil to cook our veggies in and to roast my chickpeas. So that's another healthy fat component. And finally, there are a ton of flavor options. Any choice of seasoning to cook your protein and your veggies. If you like to use marinades for proteins, that's another great option. You can drizzle hot sauce or add fresh herbs to the top of your bowl. This is where you can be really creative, and these can be different each day so your bowls have variety throughout the week. You can go from an Italian seasoning to more of a Mexican seasoning to Thai or Japanese. That way you're not getting bored eating the same thing every day. All right, so some tips on cooking this in a timely manner. First, you want to review all your meal components and decide on your cooking methods and your flavor components. Then start by preheating the oven for the veggies, and if you're cooking your protein, that would go in there too. Grains usually take the longest to cook. So start with cooking the rice or quinoa on the stove top according to its package directions. And while you're waiting for the liquid to boil, you're gonna chop all your veggies. So the sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, onions, or whatever you choose. And then you can also prepare your protein if you're baking it. So the sweet potatoes take longer to roast than other veggies. I'm going to add these to the baking sheet and drizzle with some avocado oil, which is good for high heat, and toss some paprika and cumin on here. And then I'll stick this in the oven first, along with that animal protein if you so choose, chicken, salmon, turkey, you name it. Now, while the sweet potatoes are baking for a bit, I'm gonna go ahead and make the hummus dressing. So I'll just add the hummus, some lemon juice, and some water and a little bit of olive oil to a bowl and whisk it vigorously until it's nice and smooth. And we'll just set this aside until we're ready to build the bowl. Okay, so that was super quick, and I'm gonna go ahead and roast my chickpeas. So I'll just add my pre-seasoned and oiled chickpeas into my cast iron skillet, and I'll put this over medium heat and just continually stir until I can really smell it. And then I will go ahead and use this same skillet for my greens. So as you're finishing up each meal component, just go ahead and divide it into your meal prep bowls. So when the roasted chickpeas are done, I'll just portion them out into each bowl. Veggies done, portion, rice done, portion. So now that I finished roasting my chickpeas, or if your protein's out of the oven at this point, we'll go ahead and do our greens. So I'm just gonna add them to the same skillet, this nice mixture. And then this little bit of apple cider vinegar or lemon juice, that acidic component will really help break down the bitterness and the enzymes that make these greens kind of tough on our digestive system. So by doing that, it eases it up and it helps break it down for you so it's easier to digest. And then I'll just add a splash of water, and that'll help with the steaming of our greens. Little bit of a reach there, apologies. And I'll cover this and cook it on medium-low heat, and that way I'll just continually stir it and just wait till they're mostly wilted, not entirely flimsy. Okay, so the first half of my sweet potatoes are done. They're starting to soften. Remember, those starchy veggies take a little longer to roast. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of my veggies, the Brussels sprouts and onions, and I'll drizzle the rest of my avocado oil on here and any additional seasonings. My sweet potatoes are already seasoned with paprika and cumin, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of sea salt and some freshly cracked pepper, and then use my spatula again to toss these around and mix them in, and I'll roast them probably for another 12 to 15 minutes until I see the edges of my Brussels sprouts getting a little brown and charred. Okay, so the veggies are finished roasting, and I'm going to go ahead and add my roasted chickpeas with the dark leafy greens and my cooked grains that are finished. And I'll finish off with some of the hummus dressing that we made. And I'm going to actually add a little bit of a garnish with some hemp seeds, chia seeds, or flax seeds. These are great toppings to really anything because they're full of protein, fiber, and omega-3 fatty acids. So that's another flavor component and garnish you can add to spice things up here. But again, diced avocado, hot sauce, any fresh herbs or extra seasonings that you want to finish off your bowls and keep that variety in here. Now, because you're meal prepping these bowls, or if you're meal prepping these bowls, make sure that everything has cooled off completely before you put the container lid on. And just get creative here. They'll be perfect for the week ahead or for making a big family dinner. Just enjoy and make sure you're applying this meal component method to a variety of your meals. It makes meal prepping a lot easier and more convenient for you.